Good evening and welcome to Freedom is a Constant Struggle with your host Kilu Nyasha and engineer Stephen Leader. This evening I'm delighted to bring you Baba Jahahara Amen-RA Alkebulan-Ma'at, who is a proud father, Baba, son, veteran justice, community, labor, international, and environmental rights organizer, author, journalist, and musician. He has helped lead successful campaigns on a variety of important issues while residing and working in Chicago, New York, Kansas City, and Oakland, San Francisco Bay Area. He is the past elected national co-chair of the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America, NCOBRA, and was editor-publisher of Reparations Now for nearly a decade. Jahahara has also been very active in a number of campaigns to free our imprisoned and exiled political leaders and to end the racist, classist death penalty. Jahahara currently resides in Oakland and can be reached at support at WeDemandReparations.com. Welcome, Jahahara, and I want to also introduce Chioke Bakari Armstrong Malloy. And how old are you?
9.
9 years old. All right. Welcome to Freedom, both of you.
Thank you, Sister Q.
And Jahahara, it's such a pleasure to have you. We've been bumping heads for quite a while.
Yes.
Because you are one active activist and a traveling man, too. First, let's talk about NCOBRA.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly is NCOBRA?
NCOBRA is a now over 20-year-old organization, coalition actually, of civil rights groups, radical groups, and other groups in our community across the United States that is focused entirely on popularizing, mobilizing, and winning on the issue of reparations for African people in what is now known as the United States of America.
And what are some of the organizations that are included in the in the coalition?
In the coalition, it's numerous organizations. The actual founding groups were the Provisional Government of the Republic of New Africa and the National Conference of Black Lawyers. And there are other groups that are a part of it, including members of the Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP,
the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and many other local and national organizations.
Right.
And NCOBRA's been doing that work again for over 20 years of mobilizing, popularizing, and just making people aware of this issue of reparations and why it's due. Right.
Mm-hmm. And there was also a representative, U.S. Representative John Conyers, yes, introduced a bill, H.R. 40, in the House of Reps over a decade ago, and then it came back up more recently. Would you talk about that?
Well, H.R. 40, the Commission to Study Reparation Proposals for African Americans Act, was actually first submitted in 1989, and after NCOBRA was founded. And there were members of NCOBRA that also had input into helping Elder John Conyers write that bill. And what the bill calls for is a study, a commission to be set up that would have representatives appointed by the U.S. Congress, as well as members who were appointed by the then president. That bill has languished in the Congress for over 2 decades now, under Democratic and Republican control of the Congress. Now, in 2006, Elder John finally ascended to the chair of the Judiciary Committee, and he held one hearing. And so we're pushing to have other hearings on that bill now as well.
And what are some of the provisions of the bill?
Well, again, the bill is somewhat based on the bill that a person from this area, actually, Congressman Norman Mineta, who is the former congressman and mayor from San Jose, actually wrote a bill that led to reparations for the Japanese Americans who were unjustly interned
Right.
during the 1940s. And so the bill is somewhat modeled on that. And it talks about studying the question and studying the damage and the condition of African people, not only during that period, but that what has occurred since 1865 as well, when the enslavement of African people was officially abolished, except for, as the Constitution says, when you're convicted of a crime.
Exactly.
Right.
So we see modern day slavery in the prison industrial complex today.
Certainly.
Because blacks are comprising the majority.
That's right.
Black men, particularly, are comprising.
And women, yes.
Well, yeah, we're catching up, but there's still, women are still less than 10% of the prison population.
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about the World Conference Against Racism, the WCAR, that took place in 2001, right before the September 11 disaster.
Yes.
Would you talk about that?
Yes, I was fortunate to attend that particular event, that monumental event, in fact. And we had mobilized for several years prior to that through what was then known as our African and African Descendants Caucus. And that brought together African people from around the diaspora, from the continent, from the Caribbean, from the South America, and from Europe and from the U.S. And we mobilized to around three basic issues: that the transatlantic slave trade was a crime against humanity, that the basis of racism is economics, and that reparations are due.
Right.
And we struggled leading up to that conference, and at the conference itself, we actually mobilized to first get the NGOs from around the world to agree with us, and then to mobilize on the states as well. We just showed a movie, by the way, over in Oakland.
And NGOs, non-governmental organizations.
Yes, non-governmental organizations. We just showed a movie by Brother Al Santana of Brooklyn on our victory in Durban. It's a very powerful movie, which maybe we can show again. But it details our struggle, our pushing, because it was particularly the folks from the United States, folks like in Cobra, like the December 12th movement, the National Black United Front, and many others that really pushed the African heads of state and others to stay strong on these issues, because they were under some enormous pressure from the European Union and others.